Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. For those of you new, I'm Jeanette from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. This video, what I want to do is I'm going to show you how I actually do the embroidery on logos on golf shirts. Now these golf shirts are just not any kind of golf shirts, okay? It is made out of a special material, okay? It's pretty thin and it's very soft. And it actually comes, it was purchased from a actual golf shop. Okay. So I'm making these for a company that have a upcoming golf event, and they wanted the golf shirts with their company logo on it. And as you can see, it came out really nice. There is absolutely no puckering. Okay. Let me give you a close up of it so that you guys can see exactly how it looks. Okay, as you can see, absolutely no puckering, looks really good. Okay, so one of the things also that I want to show you before I actually show you how I actually hoop this item and do the embroidery is I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the design. Okay, when you are getting things digitized. All right, now it's really important that you actually test stitch your designs, all right, and that you work with a digitizer that really knows what they're doing. All right, so I want to show you the logo. These are the stitch outs that I did. Okay, now when I meet with customers and I'm taking custom orders like this, I always like to work with customers that I can communicate with and have the conversations. All right, I don't just take orders like that thrown at me, for the simple fact that custom work, okay, you have to pay attention to detail. All right, so when I was working with the digitizer, I had this done twice. All right, I got the photo from the company, and the digitizer went and digitized the logo, and as you can see, this was my test stitch. Okay, and it came out really good. However, though, I was a little concerned because I know that this is going to be on very thin fabric. All right, my concern was the edges. Okay, and I'm going to get a pointer, a little something that I can point with, because I want to actually show you something that you really need to pay attention to, okay, when you are looking at designs. As you can see, look at the edges on here and see how it kind of pulls a little bit on the fabric, okay, especially down here on the bead. It doesn't look bad. Now, for me as a digitizer, this, it can be a little concerning. However, for a regular person, they'll look at this and they'll say, oh, Jeanette, that looks great, okay. However, though, I know I could have done a lot better, right? We can get this a lot better. So I want you to look at the second design that I had my digitizer do. On this second design, you're going to see that right here, we have a border. I feel that the border gives it a more solid look and feel. Okay, and I feel that this is something that is really going to look outstanding on the shirt. Okay, so something to think about when you are embroidering. Okay, think about borders. Don't shy away from them. Okay, now sometimes people will say, well, Jeanette, I don't like wearing borders and stuff. Because it does add more to your stitch count. But to me personally, it's all about quality. Okay, at the end of the day, I like to produce quality products out of my shop. Okay, if it's not quality, it's not leaving. Now, I'm not saying that this is bad quality. This is pretty good quality, but I just knew that I could do a little better. So what I did was I asked the customer to just wait. I wanted to try something. And I worked with my digitizer and I asked them, can you please put the borders around these sides? Okay. And when he did that, and I test stitched it and I saw that, I sent this picture to my customer and I said, hey, do you like this better? I personally do. I like it. I think it's more solid. The customer liked it, gave me the thumbs up. So I went ahead and I embroidered this one on all the shirts. Okay. Now, does it take longer? Absolutely. It does take longer to stitch because remember, you now are stitching a border around this edge right here and then right here, okay? And also on the black as well, okay? So this actually added some more stitches, but to me, it's worth it because you're producing a quality product, all right? So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the design stitch so that you can, you know, think about this, okay? You know, and stuff. So let's talk about the shirt now, okay? Now, this is a golf shirt. Now, these golf shirts are very, very pricey. These actually came from a golf shop. They run about over $100 a shirt, okay? So they are very, very pricey shirts. They are made of some special material so that when they are out in the sun, you know, it doesn't sweat them a lot, okay? So they are very lightweight. I want to show you exactly how it came out on the shirt. As you can see, I got absolutely no puckering or anything. Came out gorgeous. It's a solid stitch. Customer's going to be very, very happy with it. I also want to talk to you guys about the type of material that this is. All right. So I'm going to go in here. And I believe, yes, polyester and spandex. Okay. So this feels very thin. It is thin material, okay? And it does feel very slippery, okay? So you got to be very careful on how you hoop this and also the amount of stabilizer that you need, that you need to use. Sometimes if you don't use enough stabilizer on certain fabrics, you're going to get something that's called puckering, and that is something that you want to avoid. And when you're working on expensive items, such as this one, the last thing you want is to ruin it, okay? So you got to make sure that you understand what material you're working with so that you can properly hoop this, properly stabilize it, and make sure you're using the proper needles, okay? Now, let's go back to the design because I want to explain something a little further, okay? When you are working with small fonts, and these are small fonts, all right, you have to make sure that the weight of that thread that you're going to use on the small fonts is a 60 weight. And you're also going to make sure that the needle that you're using is a 65/9. The rest of the design, okay, the red, the black, the blue, the black underneath, this is all 40 weight thread, and I use a 75/11 needle, embroidery needle. So, you know, just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of it because there are going to be times when you have logos where you have different types of details in there. You want to make sure that you know exactly what weight thread to use at what particular spot on your design. Okay, same thing when you are working with your needles. Okay, there's a reason for it. All right, if I used a 40 weight thread on these small fonts and a 75/11 needle, this would not come out as clear as you see this right now. Okay, what's going to happen is the thread is too thick and it's not going to be very legible. All right, so just something that, you know, to be aware of. All right, so let me see. Okay, I talked to you guys about, you know, how sometimes you can modify a design. Okay, I talked to you guys about the different weights and the different needles, and I also mentioned to you guys about this fabric. Okay, now let me give you guys a little trick for those of you guys that are new. If you don't know how you feel about embroidering on this type of fabric, let me give you an idea. Go to Joann's, buy 1 yard, okay, of this type of fabric, all right, and practice on it. Practice on it with the different types of stabilizers, practice on it with the different types of needles, and also the different types of weight of threads that you want to use, okay? Not a bad idea to do it because the last thing you want is to hoop one of these expensive shirts, put it on the machine, and then all of a sudden it's an issue because then, you know, it's not going to be good. Okay. Very expensive garment. And, you know, the way I work is if I ruin something, I pay for it. Okay, I will pay the customer. There's no reason for the customer to be out of money. They didn't ruin the item, I did. So I always make sure that I can only work on materials that I'm experienced in working on. If or if not, I have to practice before I take that order. Okay. But if you are nervous about working on this type of material, because it can be tricky because it is not heavy. Okay. This is very, very, very light. Okay. And you know, you're not sure if you're going to be hooping it correctly or using the right stabilizer and stuff like that, then I recommend you practice. All right. Okay. So I'm down to my last shirt. Okay. I had 17 of these shirts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the last shirt right now so that you guys can see exactly how I hoop it and how, you know, and embroider it and everything. Okay. So these are, like I said, pretty pricey. This one is a Ralph Lauren golf shirt. Okay. Same material, very lightweight and stuff like that. Okay. This is what I do to embroider on this type of material. I use 3 sheets. Okay. Not 1 or 2. I use 3. Okay. 3 sheets. And this is the stabilizer that I use. Okay, I just get these right off of Amazon. They work great. I want you to pay attention to the ounce. Okay, it's a 2.5 ounce cutaway stabilizer. All right, and I use the 8x8 size, and I'm actually going to be using, okay, my hooping station, okay, and my mighty hoops. And I'm telling you, if you are going to be doing an embroidery business, hooping stations are a must. Okay, it is a must. They have hooping stations for single needle machines, not just the multi-needle. Okay, so, you know, I do have the information. If you guys are interested in this type of equipment in the video description, give them a call. And talk to them. That's the best way to order this stuff, because you want to make sure that you are ordering the correct items, okay, to work with your machine. Just let them know that, you know, what model you have and stuff. And if you want free shipping, if you mention Boricua Sewing and Crafts, you won't have to pay for shipping, because this stuff is a little heavy, okay, so you don't want to take that burden on your order. Okay, so it's just something I wanted to mention to you guys. All right, so like I said, I use 3 sheets. All right, and I already have 3 sheets put on my hooping station. All right, I already have the 3 sheets on there. Now when you get your hooping station, you're also going to get like a little chart, and the chart will actually tell you where you need to place this item right here. This has like a little circle on here. All right, and as you can see, the table has some numbers on here. You're going to correlate the number that goes with the size of the shirt. All right, like I'm going to put this on the side somewhere here. I'm going to lay this here, and then let me show you. Okay, this shirt, what size is it? Okay, as you can see, this shirt is an extra large, right? You see that? It's an extra large. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my logo placement, okay, and it's a men's, and as you can see, an extra large, it says D or E, and then see that number 20? You see that? Okay, so we're going to go right here. So here is the number 20 on my hooping station. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that when I put this on here, the 20 is going to show through this little hole that I have here. And let me go ahead and move you over here so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. See? You see the number 20, right? Okay. All right. So now in the placement, all right, as you can see, it said number 20, but there was also a letter that came with the number 20. All right. And the letter was a D or E. Now the D and the E is right here. Okay. So let me go somewhere between here. That's the collar of the shirt. All right. That's what that is. I'm sorry. Okay. The D and the E, and that's the collar of the shirt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in my shirt. This is the last one, and then I can tell the customer to come get their order. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here, and let me show you how how to hoop this correctly. Now, I have this on the D, and this is good, all right? This is the perfect placement. You also want to make sure that your buttons are straight, okay? And they are. Now, with this type of material, the last thing you want is to stretch, okay? You want your fabric to lay down relaxed. So you want to just drape it, okay? Make sure that this is straight. Make sure that the fabric is laid down nice and relaxed. See how I smooth it out, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mighty hoop, the top, and I got to buy another one of these. It's good to have extras, so I do need an extra one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hoop this. Now, when I hoop this, I actually run my fingers in here to make sure that it is nice and flat, and you should not feel anything kind of like curly and stuff like that. If you feel it curly, re-hoop it. But as you can see, okay, this is nice and flat. And let me give you a close-up so that you guys can see exactly. See? It's nice and smooth. So this is ready to go into the machine. Okay, so now let's head over to the machine. Okay, I am over here at the machine, and I'm going to also tell you something that's really super important when you are working with your embroidery machine. You want to make sure that when you put your item inside the machine, take your hands, put it underneath, and make sure that none of the fabric is in this space, okay? Because this is where you're going to be sewing. So the last thing you want is for the back of the shirt to be sewn with the front of the shirt. Then you messed up, okay? Then it's like you're a mess. So I have my shirt in here. I'm going to run my hand one more time. I like to do this several times because I like to make super sure that nothing is even close to this area. Now, I already have my machine set up. I've done like 17 of these. Well, 16. This is 17. And then I'm done with this order. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit embroidery. I got fresh bobbin and everything. Make sure that you also put new needles in your machines. Okay, when you're starting a new project like this, make sure you put fresh needles. You don't want anything, to mess up, okay? So as you can see, a little red dot, that's just my laser pointer showing that's the center. And I'm going to start the machine, and let's continue to stitch it out then. now one thing that I wanted to mention to you guys also, when you are embroidering something of this type of material, okay, you want to make sure that you slow down your machine, especially when you are embroidering small fonts just as this, okay? So for those of you guys that don't know, well, you guys didn't know because I didn't tell you, but my machine was actually stitching at 600 stitches per minute, okay? Sometimes some people will say, well, Jeanette, you can actually, you know, do it a little quicker. I prefer not to. I actually like to go at my own pace. I don't rush anything, okay? I like all my stuff to be perfect. So let's take this out of the machine and let's go over to the cutting table, okay? Okay, guys, here we are at the cutting table, and as you can see, beautiful stitch layout. Okay, so I'm going to remove this from the hoop. Okay. Here's a close-up so that you guys can see. Okay, really nice. Okay, looks good. There is no puckering. It's just that I'm holding it. And so let me lay it on the table so you guys can see better. And I'll give you a close-up of it so you guys can see. Okay, here we go. All right, there you go. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, see? Came out really, really nice. Looks nice. So now I got to cut out the stabilizer. Okay, now there is something else that I do want to mention, a little trick that I usually do. When you're working with customers, right, I always provide them a look at a sample stitch. All right, I always, do a sample stitch of it, and then I just cut it around for them to look at. Okay, they don't get to keep it. They just get to look at it so that they can tell me whether they like it or not. A little trick that I do, okay? I didn't do it in this one, but I will because I haven't had a chance to write anything on here. But this is one that I did for an organization, okay, for the Dominion Women's Club. When I work on these things and they go ahead and they approve it, one little trick you may want to do is you turn it over, right here, I write a little bit of history about this type of embroidery, okay? What I do is I write down the color thread that I used, the type of weight, and also the type of needles that were used for this project, right? Because sometimes what will happen is the customer will turn into a repeat customer, and they're going to come back and they're going to say, hey, I need 5 more shirts. I need 10 more shirts. And you're not going to remember the exact color that you sometimes use, right? Because if I would have looked at this, I would just say, oh, it's just red. It's not red. The color for this is actually a red raspberry, okay? So it's an actual type of red that they ordered for their logo. So just a little tip for you guys, when you are doing custom embroidery for customers, you always want to keep a record of all of their designs and the type of needles and thread colors that you used, okay? And even, any type of history that is really important for you to, to keep track. So that way you can redo it if they ever come back, okay? So, of course, with this is going to be in the back. I will be writing down the colors that I used on this because this is a particular blue, okay, that was ordered for them. So, I will be writing that down, the color number, and and for the black and all that stuff. So that way I can make sure that if they come back and they say, hey, Jeanette, I need another 10, I know exactly what colors I used, what needle, what thread, and everything like that. So just a little tip for you guys, okay? Now, we're going to start taking out the stabilizer for this particular thing. Let's see. Okay, so I want to make sure I have my scissors. Now, there are 2 scissors that I usually use. I use this one, or you could use regular scissors, okay, but I like these. These are really, really good. These were gifted to me by one of my subscribers, Miss Banks, and these have been a lifesaver. Okay, these are really great for cutting little stitches that are really small and hard to get to. For example, if you look on here, you see between the A and the Q, I have that one little stitch. I will use this so that I can get in there, okay, and actually cut that stitch. It makes it a little easier, see? And as you can see, it's all done. See, so any type of jump stitches and stuff like that that I see in here, I use these to get rid of them. And I'll put a link in the video description to this as well, in case you guys, want to also get a pair of these. Okay, because they are pretty neat and stuff. They work really, really well, and it was an awesome gift. And as you can see, look at that. I got rid of this one right here and that. So see, these are really, really handy. Okay, so, but I'll put a link to the video description in case you guys want a pair of those. Okay, so now let's go to the back and let's talk about cutting out your stabilizer. When you're cutting out your stabilizer, you want to cut around your image. However, though, you never, ever, ever want to cut right next to your stitch, because you can accidentally cut one of your stitches and you just ruined your whole thing. So the way that I cut, and another thing too, don't rush. Don't rush anything that you embroider. Okay, if you have to rush, you're going to make mistakes. So the best thing to do is just don't do it at all. Wait till you have the actual time, okay? That you're in your zone, and you don't have a bunch of commotion around you, and you can work on items, okay? Because especially like when I'm working on items like this, all these shirts are over $100 a pop. So if I ruin any of them, that's right, I'll have to pay for it. So that's not, I don't want that for me. So I'm going to take my time. And this is really my last one. And then I'll be contacting the customer to come and get their item, so that way they can look good for their event. And I'll also show you something else after I'm done with this. All right, something that I usually do for customers. Okay, so, all right, so this is finished and this is done. So this is all done and this is ready to get folded and added to the bag, okay? And now they got all of their items. Now I said I wanted to show you something that I did for my customer as a thank you, okay? A lot of times when I get big orders like this, I like to include a little gift, a little thank you gift. Now I know that all these shirts that I made is because they're going to a golf event. So one of the things that I do is I also have golf towels. So I took one of the golf towels that I had, and I actually also embroidered the emblem on the golf towel, and I'm going to gift it to the owner of the company as a thank you. So this is something that's really, really neat, something that you can do. It really helps you build a good customer relationship, a good business relationship with your customers. You want to do that. So because, not only do you want your customers to walk away with a awesome quality product, because you got to remember, this is going to talk about me, okay? What's going to happen is they're going to say, oh my God, this is great embroidery. Where did you get that? Okay, they're going to have conversations about me. So I want them to be really good. And at the same time, this product kind of tells my customer, hey, I don't just do shirts. I can take your logo and I can put it on other stuff. So while he is out there golfing, he will have his embroidered items so that he can advertise his company and stuff like that. And I'm sure that, hopefully in future, if he needs something else embroidered, I already have his logo digitized. So if he needs to put this on a bag or a hat or something else, I can do that for him. So guys, that's it for this video, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, and I hope you consider subscribing. I also host Embroidery Happy Hour every Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I always like to cover all different types of embroidery, running an embroidery business, and just sharing information and experiences with you guys. So I hope you guys can join me on Friday evenings at 8. And, I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos that I also have on this channel. I have videos on the single needle machine, working on a multi-needle machine, working on, awesome items like the mighty hoops and stuff like that. So, subscribe and, join my journey in sewing and embroidery. So I hope you guys, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing. So happy sewing and happy embroidering. Bye.